Okay, so I think this project is pretty much cursed because this is our fourth run at it. The first time we found out that Red and myself can't do it together. The second time Kenneget's friend broke his leg. Um, the third time my power supply died yesterday, like right as we were recording. So now we're taking our fourth run at it. We've got a Terran vs Protoss on Python, and I guess let's get this started. Alright, so once again, just to start this off, Artosis, do you want to just maybe talk a little bit about Python and how that map seems to be played, Terran vs Protoss?
Alright, well, Python, in my opinion, is like the most balanced Terran vs Protoss map of the last several years. It's on this map, both the Protoss and Terran, they have so many strategies that they can employ. I mean, and you can open with almost anything in the matchup from either side and make it work out. So you have to really scout a lot, and you know, it can be a really quick game with a timing push, it can be a really quick game with a rush, and a lot of the times it turns into a huge macro fest, half map versus half map.
So I guess in that vein, do you come in with any kind of preconceived notions, or do you just come in empty slate and play directly off your opponent?
Generally my style is to play directly off my opponent, but if I'm playing, you know, let's say I play like 4 games against the same guy, like I'll start off maybe using one strategy and I'll make myself rotate through them so that I'm not predictable.
Okay, and in this game, this is again against White Raw. Is this the first game of the series?
I think this is actually the 4th and final game we played in TSL.
Okay, so I guess are past builds coming into play then in this game?
Yeah, they are. Actually, we played one game already exactly in these positions. So, but you'll see pretty quickly this probe is coming down right now to the 6 o'clock, and what he does with the probe will actually make me play a reactive game rather than just choose a build order to attack him with.
Okay, everything looks pretty standard here. We've got a barracks geyser going up, one gate build from White Raw. I'm just looking for this thing, what he does with the probe.
Yeah, I think you can probably guess what he's trying to do right now with it.
Yeah. Do you have any tips on how to defend against a Manor Pylon?
Yeah, if you saw it, I just kind of pull my SCVs out when he comes to it, and I try to keep them in that area where the pylon's going to go. And normally you can get a couple extra hits on the probe because he's dancing past, trying to make SCVs move and stuff. But, I mean, there's nothing foolproof against it, really.
Yeah, okay, so he's throwing down 2 Manor Pylons, actually, and he's caught 2 SCVs. So, now that we see that, why don't you take us through how you have to react to that?
Well, what I do is I don't get as much gas as quickly. I realize that I'm going to have to make more Marines because, you know, just my economy isn't going to be quite right. My minerals are going to come in a little bit slower, and so then I won't be able to, you know, really do a heavy tech build. So I just, you know, I rely more on the Marines, and I just think, you know, okay, I'm going to earn back those minerals I'm losing by killing his pylons.
Okay, and I'm noticing this barracks placement is right beside your command center. Is that on purpose so you can hide Marines there against Zealots, or is it just, you know, random?
No, that's exactly on purpose. That's exactly why it's there. When people Zealot rush, you can just run your Marines, you know, up and down, keep them in the middle, and get free hits against the Zealot. And you'll see that the factory fits in right next to it, so I can really protect that well as well.
Okay, so I would say that was pretty ineffective from a Protoss standpoint. How are you going to react to this in order to capitalize, given that you didn't lose that many SCVs and you just lost a little mining time, but he's obviously lost quite a bit more from those 2 pylons?
Well, because of that, I had my SCVs off gas so I could get the Marines to take care of that. So I'm really low on gas right now. So that kind of, that forces me into it. I either have to go for an expansion or, some sort of Vulture heavy Marine heavy attack, and that's what I chose to do here. I decided to go with a 2-factory Vulture rally.
Okay, and I guess what are the factors that make you lean towards one or the other? Towards kind of a heavy rush or just playing an expansive game?
Well, White Raw is overall a cheesy player, so I expected most likely for him to follow this up instead of work on his economy. And also with the very close positions, the Vulture Rally is a really good attack if you have, good micro. I can really do a lot of damage with it early, and it'll protect me in case he's cheesing more, which we can see is with the DT tech.
Okay, so I'm just wondering, with the timing of this build, are you looking to break an expansion or to actually try to finish the game at this point?
Well, if he already has an expansion going right now, after losing all those Zealots and Pylons, with this timing, I would be able to just kill the expansion really easily. And if he doesn't, then he's going to have enough units to hold it off, but hopefully I can, pick off a bunch of units and maybe contain him with the mines in his base.
Okay, and then it's going to be an expansion from you at that point?
Well, I'll try to read as well as I can into what he's doing, but yeah, I'm going to want to get my expansion off of these 2 facts, but I'll probably get an eBay as well, just to be safe.
Yeah, we all know how much you love DTs, eh?
Yeah, DTs are really fair.
I think that's a story for another time, but... Okay, wow, you haven't started a command center yet at this point. Do you think that's playing a little safe, like a little too safe almost?
Well, I was really microing, so I actually have more minerals than I should right now. I have like 600. I could have started already. So that was just kind of a misplay by me, I'd say.
Okay, just jumping, I guess switching sides for a minute. If you were White Raw at this point, I don't know how well your Protoss knowledge is, but how can he fight this style that you're doing?
Well, actually, he's doing it perfectly right now. Just he's pumping goons. Although he has the DT tech, a lot of bad players would just pump DTs right now, and try to, push one through, do some damage, that type of thing. But he's doing it perfectly. He's taking an expansion, and he's making goons, because if he didn't, look at my Vultures coming now, I would, if a lesser player, decided to not make all those goons, then I would just slaughter them right now with pure Vulture. But he did, so, props to him, that was just the right thing to do.
And it looks like he's also delayed observer tech in favor of a shuttle. Is that a strong follow-up in your opinion?
I'm not too sure why he went for such a quick shuttle. It's probably he knows that he's going to be taking the island, as 2-Fact Shakura just point out here, because I have better map control right now because of my Vultures. They're a very quick unit. I have mines all over the place, so he's not really going to be able to come out in these positions and take another base easily. So the island is really probably the best choice.
Okay, so it's not a Dark Templar drop at this point, or even sort of a Bulldog attack is not a strong follow-up?
No, I wouldn't say so. If they go DTs, Terran players are likely to get, comm stat up, especially, and maybe a couple turrets, and as you see, I do have 2 comm stats and 2 turrets right now. So the DT drop really wouldn't be effective at this point.
Okay. Alright, it looks like the action is going to slow down here for a minute, so I'm going to try to quickly jump into a question. We've got a question from Coral. Why did you choose to make turrets instead of adding a Goliath or 2?
This is just like a personal preference. I know a lot of people would prefer to go Goliath here, but I don't know. I've been playing Terran for like 9 years now, and I'm still not totally into this whole Goliath thing. I like my turrets. You know, they shoot at the air no matter what. They'll take down those shuttles. They detect everything. They're very cheap. Yeah, I'm pretty awesome.
What about on Blue Storm or say Katrina? Do you prefer to open Goliaths there?
Yeah, there's no reason not to on those maps. It's like, you know they're going to be going carrier, so really you have to follow Flash's lead and do that type of build, but I'm more likely to make turrets on a more old school style map such as Python.
Okay, so we've got a question from I'm Blind. He's wondering about pushing on Python. He says the middle is pretty open, and he's wondering, for example, in 3 versus 9, would it be best to push straight through the middle, or would you kind of stick to the edges and try to push around, kind of around the circle of the middle?
You probably want to go straight through the center if you want to do a push. What I suggest is you play it more of a Zelos style on Python. When it's cross position, I would go for like a 1-fact opening into command center, and the Protoss will normally go double expand versus that. So what you can do is just 4-fact timing, but you don't really push. What you do is you get up real close to their base and you set up turrets, you set up your tanks, you set up vulture mines everywhere, and you do a contain. And because Python is just too long to really push, you really need to cement yourself with your spider mines in front of your tanks, or the Protoss will bust out. So you just kind of, you sit there in front of their base, and they'll try to move units around and stuff, and you've got to watch where the units are and keep readjusting your contain, because they will have units outside of it. And eventually you're going to have enough units where you can go and kill their third base.
Okay, so are you saying a contain like right up at his natural choke, or more back towards the middle?
You're going to want it right in front of where like the snake curves, if you can kind of see that. Like, look at where the Reaver is right now, and then in front of that where there's buildable terrain right in front of the curve of the snake. That type of area right there. It'll be a kind of a wide contain, and he's going to be able to get a few units out here and there, but you really don't want to go any further than that, because I mean it's really based on timing. You're barely going to be able to hold your contain at all points.
Okay, fair enough. So I guess getting back to this game, you're starting to push here. Now, what is the idea behind this push? Are you going to try to push to his natural, or are you pushing out to expand? And can you talk a little about the timing, why you decided this is the right time to push?
Yeah, this is like kind of an old school type of push here, because Whiteraw right now, he went every tech route. So as you can see, he's making Arbors right now. He's already had DTs. He's made Reaver. So he's going to try to get really cost effective with things like Reavers, Psystorm, and Stasis and that type of thing. So the way that you have to push against that is you have to do, a spread push with turrets. If you try to run up to his base, I mean, you have enough units that you would kill him normally, but a couple Psystorms would just rip you apart. So it's better to just, go out, add some factories, and just push up really, really strong. It can be a slow push. He's not going carriers, he's going arbors. So you're not in any rush to go up and kill him right now. You just have to get there without losing all your units.
Okay, and I guess scouting around, I can see this vulture patrolling, and you've got a barracks up here, so you've pretty much confirmed that he's got the island at this point. I don't know if you've scanned it. I didn't see that, but again, scouting is such a key thing in this match. You know he doesn't have 4 bases, so just something to add about the push timing.
Yeah, it's really important to make sure that he has just the 3 base, because if he had a 4th base right now, I would be able to just go up and plow him regardless of his spells. But he's being smart. He's keeping on his 3 bases, so I got to take it slow and just push right up there.
Now I see you've taken the bottom right expansion at this point. I know a lot of weaker players might be afraid to take that and might be looking to take maybe 9 or their mineral only. Do you want to talk about that? Basically, which expansions you choose to take in Terran vs Protoss?
Well, in this game, he's particularly mobile. He has, his shuttle, he has Arbiter, so he's going to have recall. So that is the closest expansion that I can go up and defend right away. And that'll come into play later in the game when he starts, trying to recall around the map. I can actually save that expansion. Whereas if I took 9 o'clock, if he recalls there or even just drops a Reaver there, how am I supposed to defend that? There's really no way.
Okay, and we can see just exactly how slow this push is going, just like you said, no rush really.
Yep, you gotta make it a very dangerous push and not let him get cost effective on it, because you're gonna have more units in the Protoss, but he's gonna have all these spellcasting units, so you just have to spread it out right.
Maybe you can talk about what kind of build or what situations would lead up to requiring you to play with a more explosive push, where you're in a rush to get right up to his natural, or basically to kill him, maybe.
Yeah, well, whenever someone overexpands or overpowers, like they go, 2 Nexus right away off 1 gate or something like that, or, they're going for a carrier rush off of 2 or 3 bases, something like that, that's when you want to just get in there right away, because they're just going to hit a point where you can't kill them because of, carriers are just so cost effective, stuff like that. But this way, with spells, they whittle you down. So you cannot let yourself get whittled down, and that's why you do the slower push.
Okay, and just another thing I want to add here, people always have trouble with mine positioning, and we can see that Artosis' entire flank is mined from basically his natural all the way up to the front of his push, so really important to delay those flanking units with mines like that.
Yeah, that's so true. A lot of the time the Protoss will just try to run around and flank you, and you need those mines in place so that you can get back into position, because that's what Protoss wants. He wants you to attack out of position so that he can get ahead, and you can't let them have that. And those mines just all up the edge, that really helps out.
So I can see you haven't actually taken your natural gas at this point. Clearly because you're going for this slow vulture heavy push, but can you tell us an example where the unit composition might change and you would need that second gas quicker?
Yeah, if he was doing a different tech route than the Arbiters after the DT, then I would have gotten a second gas and mixed in Goliaths and stuff like that. But because he went such quick Arbiters after the DT, he's a little bit light on obs, and I realize that it's going to be a low economy game. Like right now we both have like 2 bases mining, and I realize that that's pretty much going to be the story of the game. So it's going to be a much more vulture heavy game, and I am going to have to keep pushing right up on him with the vultures to make sure that he has to use his Arbiters to stay alive rather than go around and kill me. If he had done a slower Arbiter tech, then he would have been able to use the Arbiters more offensively against me, and I would have had to use Goliaths and turrets and more defense, and I would have needed more gas for that.
Okay, fair enough. We can see the Arbiter now making its way towards your natural. I'm going to be interested to see how you react if this recall gets off. Oh, that never mind.
Yeah, that was a little bit lucky right there. If that Arbiter had recalled, that would have been really dirty. I would have had to pull back a lot of tanks to take that out.
And now you've basically got him contained at this point, so I guess there's no real rush to finish at this point.
Yeah, no, basically I want to starve him. I'm not even planning on really pushing too far into the natural anymore, because I know it's going to mine out by the time I get there. So I want to just keep him on the bases he has, and just kind of wait for him to kill himself.
And at this point, are you even thinking about taking a 4th base at all, or would something have to change the dynamic of the game? Let's say he breaks out for that to become a factor.
No, I'm not thinking too heavily about it right now. I realize that I have to just keep on my unit production. I have like 6 facts right now. I just got to keep pumping these vultures. They're just doing so well right now, just laying mines everywhere against this. And really I don't need another base because I'm mining just as much as Protoss is, and when Terran and Protoss are mining the same amount, I mean, Terran wins that every time.
I'm also curious, given how heavy he's relying on arbiters, if you've considered adding science vessels, or if it's not necessary in this position.
Now, that's a pretty good question, actually, and science vessels are so good against arbiters when you get them in time. But basically, in this game, I'm just trying to make it so that he can't really use his arbiters that much. If he brings his arbiters away from his natural, I'm going to be able to push him a lot quicker. He needs to keep those there for both the cloak and stasis. So, I really don't have the time or money to invest in science vessels right now. They're more of a slow counter for a big economy game as opposed to this small economy game.
Okay, and we can see the recall did get off in your bottom right expansion, and you basically brought all your units. There's 2 tanks left behind, and your entire army is coming back to deal with this. I suppose it's worth the trade to deal with this and let him break out.
Yeah, this was like the most important decision of the game, basically. I had to decide, do I push forward with all my units, or do I abandon the contain and just totally save my expand? And after looking at my natural, I'm almost mined out there. So I realized that all I had to do really was take care of this attack, and I would be able to retake my contain a little bit later.
Yeah, something I want to add, a lot of players, weaker players especially, have a decision if they want to basically all-in counter or go back and defend and play safe. And a lot of them make the decision to continue attacking even when they're ahead. And I think if you're ahead, like you are in this game, it's typically the right decision is just to play safe. Because, I mean, if you keep going forward, all he has to do, once he's shut that last expansion down, is keep grinding you down bit by bit, and you've basically thrown the game away. If you just play safe, though, you're already ahead. I mean, chances are you're still ahead. It's just usually the better option in my view.
Oh yeah, exactly. And also just Terran, just the way Terran is, we have to keep our production up to protect our siege tanks. That's basically the entire Terran in a nutshell. You keep your siege tanks alive long enough to kill your opponent. And if you lose an expansion like that, then you're going to get whittled down, as you said. So it's just so very important to protect your expands.
I'm actually surprised White Raw has been able to keep up all game. His supply has been equal to yours. I guess the opening game didn't hurt him as much as I thought it did.
Yeah, no, and his third base, that island, was a lot quicker than my third. And also, I mean, just the nature of what he's doing, the stasises and the High Templars, so many of them make him really cost effective.
Okay, so at this point, you've got to have assumed his natural is mined out. Is your goal going to be continue pushing to his natural, get him contained, or are you going to push to his third base and try to cut off his economy? And what goes into the decision making?
This is kind of an easy play itself out situation for me. It's what I want to do is just set up a small container as natural so he can't bring units up to his new base, and then I'm just going to macro for a minute and just roll his new base because he can't get units out there to help, so whatever he has there, that's it. So I just have to get more units than that, kill that base, and I am set.
Yeah, this is almost exactly like the situation you were talking about beforehand. Set up your units by the snake, and then just keep macroing, and eventually you have enough to push to the third base. It's just in this case it happens to be the fourth base.
Yep, this is kind of the way you have to play Python. It's really hard for Terran to attack on those chokes against cost-effective stuff like Psystorm, so it's pretty good to just let the macro get going.
Alright, well, looks like that's going to be the end of that. I think that was pretty good. I hope a lot of people can learn something from this. Do you have any? Do you have another replay, or do you want to move on to Team Liquid People's replays? I think I might have been holding down the wrong key when I was speaking.